The security of the oceans is paramount to humanity. Indeed, oceans are not only important as the platform on which it performs the transport of 90% of goods that sustains the world economy, but they provide resources of various sorts, living and non-living, that support the livelihood of people on land today and for the future generation. Several activities that guarantee life on land are performed at sea. Therefore, order and security at sea is one of the core pillars of ocean's sustainable wealth generation, which has been threatened by illegal and criminal activities. More effort is needed to create inter-regional cooperation on maritime security. Developmental issues that will cause policy changes shape opinions, and some of the issues that will be on the front burner on Maritime Radar. I'm Nneoma Obi-Asualo. Seafarers are key drivers of the maritime sector, as the well-being of the seafarers is a reflection of the health of the shipping industry and the maritime sector at large. There's therefore the need to ensure policies which must be implemented are put in place to protect their interests in the workplace. Notably, in advanced maritime nations, the qualitative education of seafarers and their welfare are given highest priority. But in Nigeria, it's been continued uncertainties resulting from unemployment amidst the dearth of qualified seamen. The call for a national line which will create an opportunity for both seafarers and cadets to enable them to be properly certified. The 2003 Cabotage Act must be implemented to ensure that ships operating in coastal waters are crewed 100% by Nigerian seafarers. This will help develop the maritime human capacity and also grow the population of employable seafarers. We must put an end to relying on foreign nationals to man vessels operating in the cabotage climb. In this episode, our focus will be on protecting the African oceans and the welfare of seafarers. But before we get further into the lineup of today in the program, let's find out the latest in maritime news.
Nigeria has initiated plans to introduce a 0.5% levy on imported goods to raise funds to meet its obligations to the African Development Bank, the World Bank, and other multilateral organizations. The new levy can be found in the 2022 Finance Bill under Sector 13 for Customs, Excise, Tariff or Consolidation Act. The levy is imposed on all eligible goods imported into Nigeria from outside Africa. The government explained in the document that the amendment was essential to ensure certainty and sustainability of funding of the African Union and other key multilateral development institutions. More than 400,000 Filipino seafarers may be left unemployed after an audit conducted by the European Maritime Safety Agency, MESA, indicated that the Philippines have not been complying with international maritime safety standards. MESA is charged with reducing the risks of maritime accidents, marine pollution from ships, and loss of human lives at sea. Earlier in the year, MESA specified that the training and certification in Philippines' maritime education institutions fell short of guidelines mandated by the International Convention on Standards of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping for Seafarers. The European Commission will ultimately decide the seafarers' fate following the MESA audit. If the Commission upholds the findings, it may no longer recognize the seafarers' competency certifications, which would prohibit them from working on European Union-flagged vessels, effectively leaving them jobless. The Philippines could also end up being excluded from the International Maritime Organization's whitelist of countries with seafarer employability. Data from the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, shows that the Philippines is the world's largest provider of seafarers, followed by Russia. Figures from a Philippine central bank show that in 2021, Filipino seafarers sent home an estimated $6.54 billion in remittances. Japanese shipping company Ocean Network Express, ONE, has announced an agreement to acquire controlling stakes in 3 U.S. West Coast container terminals. ONE signed definitive agreements to acquire a 51% stake in each of TRAPAC and Usain terminals, YTI from Mitsui O.S.K. Lines, and Nippon Yusen Kabushiki Kaisha. ONE said these acquisitions are part of the integration of the container shipping businesses from the parent companies into ONE. The recent disruptions to the supply chain due to COVID-19 have highlighted the importance container terminals play in keeping global trade flowing. ONE currently ranks as the world's 7th largest container ship operator, controlling a fleet of more than 200 container ships and 1.5 million TEU capacity. Ship insurers are cancelling war risk cover across Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus, following an exit from the region by reinsurers in the face of steep losses. Reinsurers who insure the insurers typically renew their 12-month contract with insurance clients on January 1st. This year's renewal gives them the first opportunity to scale back exposure since the war in Ukraine started, after being hit this year by losses related to the conflict as well as Hurricane Ian in Florida. Several protection and indemnity PI clubs have said they will no longer be able to offer war risk cover for liabilities in the region from January 1st. The clubs are among the biggest protection and indemnity insurers who cover around 90% of the world's ocean-going ships. Ships typically have PI insurance, which covers third-party liability claims, including environmental damage and injury. Separate hull and machinery policies cover vessels against physical damage. Industry experts say the moves by the insurers will make it harder for ship owners or charterers to find insurance, increase prices, and may mean some ships sail uninsured.
This is Africa. I bet you've heard a lot about it. But this is what you need to know. It's the home of the youngest and fastest growing population in the world. This, my friend, is opportunity right here. This is the future, and everyone wants Africa's attention. You need a voice that's African, young, conversational, a platform with the potential to reach millions of people across the continent with content they can relate to, such as lifestyle shows, sports, and news, just the way they love it. Imagine all the people you could be talking to on News Central TV. Well, don't just think about it. Contact us for sponsorship and advert bookings. Put your brand where Africa is watching. It's News Central TV.
If you're just joining us, this is Maritime Radar. The good seaman weathers the storm he cannot avoid and avoids the storm he cannot weather. I spoke to Captain Alfred Oluwasegun, a maritime security expert and the Secretary General, Merchant Seafarers Association of Nigeria. Stay with us. Let's start this conversation looking at the potentials of the maritime industry. What is it for you?
You know, there are a lot that have not really been discovered in this industry. And if we really give attention, since speaking, the world will be a better place. I would say Africa will be a better place. I would say Nigeria will be a better place. Because Nigeria's maritime economy has not really been tapped. To be sincere with ourselves. It's an industry that controls over 90% of our economy, and we are only dealing on oil. And you won't believe that close to 80% of what we consume in Nigeria are being imported. So we've not really tapped the potential. It's just like the Cabotage Act that says any ships that is that must sail within the Nigerian water must be built in Nigeria, manned by Nigeria, crewed by Nigeria, and owned by Nigeria. And sincerely speaking, up to now, we don't build a seagoing ship in Nigeria. 80% of the ships that sail within the Nigerian water are owned by foreigners. So we have not really tapped the economy. And if we actually give the attention to that industry, this country will be a better place. I don't see the reason why this country should be broke.
The CPFF have been said going to be dispersed, according to the minister.
Yeah.
So, do you think that's going to resolve these issues you highlighted here?
It will resolve it if it is applied rightly.
You don't see it so?
Yes, because when you disburse such fund, and the people still go outside to go and purchase vessel that will sail within the water, that means that money is going outside. So you should put up a policy that will make the money to stay in Nigeria economy. What I was saying says, let's encourage the ship building in Nigeria.
Okay.
Seagoing ships. Enforcement of this Cabotage Act that any vessel that will sail within the Nigerian water must be built here. So if you encourage that, they won't take this money out. They will invest it here, and that you will create jobs for more Nigerians because you will build, it will be owned by Nigeria, the crew will be Nigeria, and it will be manned by Nigeria.
But you said we don't have the infrastructure, maybe our steel companies not working and all that.
Sales will.
Okay.
We do. You know, when you don't look inward, you will know that Nigerians are loaded. I'm one of the best anti-piracy security experts in the world. America discovered me. I am the first PhD holder in maritime security and safety management in the entire world. America discovered me. So if you don't look inward, you won't know that Nigeria has people who are loaded. I presently serve under the American agency as an anti-piracy security expert at the TGA Trading Group America. I've led several anti-piracy operations with an excellent results. So if you think we don't have the infrastructure, then what we...
So why is it not our reality? Why are we not making use of the opportunities before us?
It's because some people
Why do we neglect it?
Some people believe... some people don't like to work with standard. They don't believe in what they have. Nigeria has over 6,000 creeks. And I must tell you, why do we still put pressure on the road? That's the point.
So what exactly is the problem? Is it government or the stakeholders?
I would say the government that is not enforcing the law. The laws are there.
Okay.
The law, if the law says any vessel that will sail within the Nigerian water must be built in Nigeria, that means they know that the potential is there. They know that the infrastructure is there. All you need is to create an enabling environment, and you will see investor coming in. Funny thing is, building and developing the maritime industry does not even really need the government funding. You only need the enabling environment. Assure the investors that know what your investment are safe. Why do we have a PPP, private-public partnership? Government ensure the safety environment that can accommodate the business, and you will see these people coming in to invest. And the point is, why do we still have congestion at the port when we have vast of waterfront that can accommodate more ports? So these are points. So that when I campaign for Badagry Seaport will generate nothing less than 10 trillion for government. We create nothing less than 5,000 job opportunity for Nigeria at no cost to the government. All they need is enabling environment for this investment to strive.
So you mean this is a problem of political will?
It's a political will. What if I tell you that most of the big ships don't come into Nigerian water? They discharge in Cotonou. and a smaller ship will bring the cargo into Nigeria. Why? Congestion. 2, maybe some policy that is not really encouraging them to come in. So the point, even the smaller ship that brings in this cargo from Cotonou, from Togo to Nigeria, are not even owned by Nigerians. The 90% of them are owned by foreigners. So this money goes out.
Sadly.
Sadly.
Protecting the African oceans and its resources is a necessity considering the potentials of the maritime industry. Yeah. So how do we go about this?
You see, as a well-certified maritime security specialist, with my experience in this job so far, and as a well-trained detective, you know, I could understand that the security in Africa, insecurity in Africa, is being backed up by the high-profile personalities. That's why I will boldly say is that you cannot totally eradicate seafarers in Africa, because it's a business to some high-profile personalities. You know, people only arrest the boys who carry out the operation at sea, but nobody bothered to investigate who financed it, because somebody needs to bunker the vessel. Who owns the vessel? Who bunker it? Who gives the information? It's an organized crime. Some people gather the information and supply those who will finance. Some people do the financing, buy the bunker. Some people hold this vessel. And so when you arrest the boys and you only detain the boys, then you are not investigating this matter. So this crime, it involves the high-profile personalities.
They touch not.
They touch not. And secondly, also involves some security personnel, because it's an organized crime. And another thing is, the baseline for everything is unemployment. When you train people to be more professionals and you don't engage them, they will use their professionality to be committing crime. You know, when people want to define piracy is just a duplication of the original. So you must have an in-depth knowledge of the original before you can duplicate the original. So those who are carrying out these activities, they are highly trained, well professional. You know, it takes a well-loaded navigator to know where your vessel is anchored and know when to strike.
We will talk about the seafarers, because that's
before you go there, it takes a good underwater welder to know how to go under the sea before you can bust the pipe. And it takes a very good security man securing that area to say, hey, there's a pipe here, come and bust it. It's an organized crime.
We'll talk about more about this organized crime. That will be after this short break. Please stay with us.
News Central TV, Africa's #1 storyteller, has come with the best of both worlds. With a combination of news app and live TV, we ensure that you keep track of the latest headlines, breaking news, and in-depth analysis from professional journalists from around the continent. Download the News Central TV app on Android and iOS and get started today. Don't forget to follow us on News Central's social media platforms. News Central, Africa First.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Maritime Radio, and I still have with me in the studio Captain Alfred Oluwasegun. Before we went on the break, I had asked more about this organized crime.
Yeah, because it's not an easy thing for a seafarer to just come to the sea, know where your vessel is positioned, hijack it. They work by information, and some of the information are being leaked from the port, being leaked from through chartering. Sometimes they get some of it through the crew, and who bunker the vessel. Sometimes they work with some security agency. It's an organized crime. It's not what one person can commit. No. The boys will not just go to the sea because you burn bunker. They will not just go to the sea and say, let's go and look, see if we can see a vessel we can hijack. No. They monitor the vessel.
You are the Secretary General of the Merchant Seafarers Association of Nigeria.
Yes.
Take us through the realities of a Nigerian seafarer.
Well, let me just take it globally before we come back to Nigerian seafarer. Because if we looked at the roles of a seafarer is to ensure the movement of goods globally through the sea. You see, the global trade is being controlled by the sea, and you move these goods through the sea. And secondly, 90% or 95, 97% of what we use globally have been transported through the sea. And who are the people that move them? The seafarers. That's why we call them essential workers. People you cannot do without. They are essential workers because the country, even the world, cannot survive without seafarers. You know, during COVID-19, everywhere was shut down, including aviation, including armed forces. Barracks, you don't enter barracks. You will not even see some military outside. But no country dared to shut down their seaports. I was fully active at sea. I was covering East Africa on the Maersk line. And you know, most of the equipment, the medical, these things you need within Africa, seafarers have to be the one to sail them in. Your weapons, your automobile, clothes, agricultural, these are responsibility of seafarers. So you can't do without them. So at that stage, we sustained the economy during COVID-19. In fact, we didn't allow the entire world to collapse. Because if any country has dared to shut down their seaport, they wouldn't have survived the COVID-19 period. So we are essential because no country can survive. And I must tell you, no country, I repeat, in the entire world can survive without seafarers. We are so essential. But when it comes to Nigeria, they don't celebrate them. They underrate them because they are the ones generating this money. If seafarers drop anchor in Nigeria, the master will stop making money, will stop generating money. NPA will not exist again. Shippers Council will not be nowhere to be found. You know why? Because what they are generating is the seafarers that is bringing it in.
So what has your association done to correct this abnormality?
We came on board 2018 when we saw this abnormality, and some people are working and baboons are eating. Baboons are being celebrated. So we said, you know what? No, it's time for us to stand up and let people know that we are the one feeding this country. Imagine if you don't take out your crude oil and bring out your refined crude oil, you won't have revenue. And when there's no revenue, most agencies won't even have allocation. Sometimes I see police harassing Nigerian seafarers when they're supposed to be celebrating them. If Nigerian seafarers don't sail, police won't have allocation. And there won't be money to manage the Nigerian police. So these are people that need to be celebrated. So what we are just doing now is let the world know how important we are. Let the country know that we are the one feeding you. If we drop anchor today, if Nigerian seafarers drop anchor today, the next 20 years, Nigeria will not recover from the loss because the master will not generate money. NPA will not generate. Shippers Council will not generate. Even the custom, what they are generating, will drop drastically. It is because it is when we sail in the ship, that's when custom can generate, they can have duty. Because the custom is generating 10 trillion. It's because we are sailing in the ships.
But there's this assertion that they are half-baked and they are not employable.
Says who? In fact, the Nigerian trained seafarers are still better than the one the master is training outside. Quote me anywhere. I'm a well-trained, certified seafarer, a product of America. And I can boldly tell you, with my experience in this job, with the one the master has trained outside, they call them NSDP, I don't know. With all the lines, and when they get back, they will have to start as a cadet. Do you know why? Because they have the academics training, they have professional training, but they lack the operational competency. And this job is more of operation. You don't learn driving in the class. You learn it on the field. You cannot understand my father's farm more than I do. We have seen most of them, and I must tell you, a second officer from other that's trained outside by NEMASA and bring a second officer from Nigeria, set the same exam for you, and I can tell you, those that are trained outside by NEMASA, they will fail woefully. And mind you, NEMASA should stop training because they are committing more blunder. they're adding to the problem, to the insecurity problem by still sending cadets.
So who should conduct this?
We have enough cadets that has been trained and that are unemployed. To be sincere with you, before the master started training, we already have over 70% that are trained but unemployed. So when the master now starts their NSDP program, so the unemployed now increase. And I must be bold with you. Even the master cannot say they have employed 10% out of the ones they have trained. So they have added to the unemployment problem on ground. And the fact still remains that this is one of the baseline for insecurity. It is water. So why are you training more when those that have been trained don't even have jobs? What I would have been expecting the master to do is that those that have been trained by Nigerians, retrain them to be more professional so that they can fit into the jobs on ground, not by training a new sect who don't understand what the maritime is all about. So they should stop this training. And because I know one reason why they are doing this training, I don't want to talk much as an investigator. I know that some people are eating so much, eating so fat from this. Look, I don't see reason why you should be training more when those that have been trained have not even been employed. So why are you training more? That's the point.
As an expert, you've enumerated so many challenges here. What are the solutions to the security and seafarer solutions as mentioned?
First, let's start building ships in Nigeria.
Okay.
Any ship that was sailed within the Nigerian water must be built in Nigeria. That is what the Cabotage Act says. Must be owned by Nigeria, so Nigeria can put their money here in this country. So any vessel that was sailed within the Nigerian water must be crewed by Nigeria and must be manned by Nigeria. And the master should compel all vessels presently sailing within the Nigerian water to start employing Nigerian seafarers. And this is all we need. And I must tell you, the insecurity will reduce drastically. It will reduce drastically. And again, the security personnel there increase their salary because what they are earning is peanuts. There's no future. When you are earning peanuts, you want to steal because, after your retirement, you need something to fall back on. They should increase their salary, encourage them, and give them more fund. That's all.
The master must start employing seafarers, and we must start building ships in Nigeria. That is the way forward to cut the piracy challenges or insecurities on our waterways. Those are the words of Captain Alfred Oluwasegun. He is a maritime security expert and the Secretary General, Merchant Seafarers Association of Nigeria. I must thank you most kindly for coming on Maritime Radar.
You're welcome, madam.
And that's our show this week. Join us again in 2023 as we explore the maritime industry in Africa. Remember, seafarers are key workers, essential to shipping and to the world. From me and the entire Maritime Radar crew, this is wishing you a prosperous new year. I'm Nneoma Obi-Asualo. Many thanks for watching.